Have you ever stared at your reflection in the mirror and thought, if I could just fix this one thing, I'd finally feel confident? But then, the more you look, the worse you feel. If so, you're not alone. The pain is real, and it's more common than you think.
Whether it's a picture of me where I feel like I looked like my tummy was too big.
I wear really big earrings because I don't like my ears.
I don't necessarily fit the social norm of what a pop star should look like.
I don't care what body you have. It's exhausting for everybody.
This struggle is not really about what we see on the outside. It's about how our brain keeps us trapped in a loop that drags us down. I'm Dr. Thomas Smithyman. I'm a clinical psychologist and the author of this book. After 20 years of helping people and working through my own appearance insecurities, I've seen that escaping this trap isn't about changing how you look. It's about retraining your brain to stop feeding the cycle. In this video, I will show you the psychological techniques that I use to do just that. So a few weeks ago, I found out I needed 2 facial surgeries. One on my cheek right here, and one right above my eye. Honestly, I didn't know how it would affect the way that I looked. I asked will there be a scar? And they said, we are cutting your face open. So normally in New York City, no one cares what you look like. But this time, people stared. Some even asked, what happened? Hoping for a cool story of a fight I was in or some crazy accident. Nope. Just skin cancer and a nice doctor with a scalpel. Others joked, you should see the other guy. But all that attention reminded me of the appearance insecurities I used to struggle with. Back then, this would have made me self-conscious and fixated on how I looked. But now, because of everything I've learned, both professionally and personally, I handle it differently. And that's exactly what I want to share, because there is a way out of this mental trap. People love to say, don't worry about how you look, or it's shallow to care about appearance. But let's be honest, it is normal to care. And it's easy to get trapped into thinking about it just a little too much. So if you take the kind of depressing step of looking at the research on this, you'll see that looks do matter. People who are very physically attractive benefit socially, they benefit professionally, even psychologically. And this is true for both men and women. Even worse, it's been estimated, but seriously, I'm going to stop there. Because if you focus too much on that, it starts to feel like looks are everything, and that mindset will really trap you. We're struggling, even if we don't say it. Appearance anxiety is everywhere right now. I'm hearing people saying they hate their face, they feel ugly, or they're not tall enough or attractive enough or something to be able to have a happy, good life. We often talk about this like it's a female problem rather than a human problem. That leaves men feeling ashamed, like they're not supposed to care. And that adds a second layer of anxiety. If I care about this stuff, does that mean something's wrong with me? But the truth is, men and women deal with these insecurities at surprisingly similar rates. And we largely focus on a lot of the same concerns. Both men and women largely worry about skin, about noses, about asymmetries, about body shape. Though men do stress more about hair loss and feeling like they're not big enough. And most people aren't fixated on just one thing. If we're honest, we probably have a bit of a list, right? Okay, I've got mirrors. I know the many ways that my appearance does not match the generic mainstream ideal. And if I was struggling to find any more, luckily I have the comment section of YouTube videos, which give me nuance pretty regularly, like, you look like Dracula, and all this stuff. Folks, I have pink Scottish skin and rosacea. I've got a ton of imperfections. And as I get older, inevitably, I will develop a bunch more. I'm happy to say at this stage in my life, I don't really fixate on any of them. But when I was going through the surgeries, it reminded me how much I used to get caught up in the past. When I was 20, I was convinced I was going bald. Newsflash, I was not. Then I would focus intently on my acne, then my frown lines, my narrow face, even the weird shapes that my mouth would make in photos. Later in this video, I will show you how to pull yourself out of the cycle, but first we need to learn how to spot it. Here's how it usually catches us. See if this sounds familiar at all. When I used to get trapped in this, it didn't matter what feature it was about. Be my skin, my hair, whatever. I knew it didn't match the mainstream ideal, so I would focus on it a lot. Generally because I wanted to figure out exactly how bad it was, or to figure out how to improve it. But the more I focused, the worse I felt. And, of course, all the focusing rarely paid off in any clear improvement. In fact, the much more common result was that I stared at myself so much that I'd eventually start to doubt my own eyes. Like, am I fine? Am I overreacting? Is this just worse in my head? Or is it actually like way worse than I even realize, and I'm just become numb to it from staring at it so much? So then you start playing what I call the mirror game. You go and check a bunch of different mirrors with different lighting and different angles, hoping to find like the honest reflection that'll tell you the truth. Because like we look slightly different in all of them. But of course, the more you search, the more you realize you cannot trust any of them. Ever notice that if you look at a word too long, it starts to look misspelled? Can't be right. Well, stare at your reflection too long, and the same thing happens. It starts to warp and look worse, and little things can start to seem like a bigger deal than they really are. And this keeps pulling us back into the cycle. Okay, I'll admit, even after years of work, when my bandages came off my face and I really saw all the swelling and the weird lumps, I could feel my brain trying to drag me back into that loop. But this time, of course, I knew exactly what was happening, and more importantly, like how not to feed it. Because after going through this cycle enough times, I had realized that our appearance anxieties are like mosquito bites. Like it itches, right? So you scratch. You're looking at it, worrying about it. But scratching a bite makes it worse. It gets redder, it gets more swollen, itchier, and that makes you scratch more. And then more, until eventually it's raw and it's bleeding. This same thing happens when you over-focus on your appearance. It's not being shallow, it's not vanity, it's anxiety. And anxiety tricks us into thinking that focusing more on our imperfections will help, but it only pulls us deeper in. Now, because of my experience, training, and like what I do for work, I now know how to get myself out of this trap. There are multiple important techniques, right? But in this video, I'm going to talk about what I've found to be the simplest and most powerful idea. We need to stop making our appearance insecurities the focus of our attention. That can feel hard at first, but because it's about changing what we do, it's actually one of the easiest places to begin. And I've found it can make a big impact fast. I know we think when we're focusing on our flaw, we're going to be fixing it, or it's going to help in some way. And it feels like if we were to ignore it, right, bad things will happen. We won't get what we want in life, or people will be repelled and reject us. But that whole thinking process is part of the trap. So remember the mosquito bite? It's not about the itch, it's about the scratch. So when you stop scratching a mosquito bite, the itch comes down. It takes a while, but it comes down. And it's the same with appearance worries. The more we engage and react, the more it flares up. So after surgeries, like I've healed, and it may look invisible to you. But let me tell you, I can see the asymmetries and how I look different from before. And I can feel in the background there's a little itch wanting to be scratched, wanting me to pull my attention back to focus on it just a little bit more. And that's how we get caught. Is your imperfection real? Maybe. But zooming in on it will probably make your situation and your life worse. Here's why. Your attention works like a flashlight. Wherever you shine it, it looks bigger and brighter. The flaw doesn't grow. Your attention grew. The more you focus on a flaw, the more it fills your mind, and then the worse it looks. And if you look for flaws, you will always find them. Because we're human. We're just terribly flawed. One time, I walked past a place in Los Angeles that did cosmetic surgery for feet. So I had never even thought about feet in that way. But I can guarantee if you showed me a feed of the world's best feet for a while, and I started comparing mine, I'd probably start thinking my feet were pretty flawed too. But right now, I can't remember the last time I really looked at my feet. Like to me, they are classified as functional. They help me get around. The truth is, whatever you focus on starts to feel like a big deal, even if it never was. And that's how we accidentally train ourselves to stay stuck in the loop. So teach your brain it's not a big deal. Okay, the more often we shine the flashlight on insecurities, the bigger a deal they will start to seem. See, we are training our brains every day about what matters. Whatever you tell your brain is important, it will keep showing you and keep focusing on. If you check a feature, like your acne, in the mirror 20 times a day, see how it's doing, your brain thinks, oh, this must be serious. I better keep reminding you about your acne. And that's why it pops in your head all day. You keep scratching, and it gets itchier. But if you treat it like it's not a big deal, your brain will get the message, and it'll stop bringing it up as much. So, how exactly do we do that? How do we stop feeding this loop? Well, we stop scratching. Here are the ways we scratch at our appearance insecurities. If we cut these habits, we give our system a chance to calm down. Cut down mirror and selfie checks. Stop constantly checking the features you're concerned about. Instead, practice sitting with the discomfort of not knowing how it looks for a while. And then, also, please get rid of those dysmorphia mirrors, the ones that pull you in and micro-analyze every single detail. Stop documenting and measuring changes. So after my surgeries, I caught myself checking my swelling and my scars a little too often. But I shut it down fast because I've been through this before. It is not about ignoring the reality. It's about not letting it take over your mental space. Quit actively comparing your feature to other people's. If you're insecure about your nose, stop scanning and analyzing everybody else's nose. Avoid the product rabbit hole. There will always be a new miracle cream or next supplement that will finally solve this. But chasing these fixes will probably make you feel worse, and none of these solutions will end up being perfect. So that always leaves the door open for the next one. Stop talking about it with others or asking if it looks okay. Don't over-groom or over-camouflage. Of course, we're going to do some of this, that's normal, but if you spend tons of time hiding something, you're sending your brain a clear message. This feature or whatever is a big problem. Something bad will happen if I don't cover it up. And that's exactly how we accidentally train ourselves to stay anxious. Okay, here's the bottom line. If you treat your imperfection like it's a huge problem, like if you spend half your day thinking about it, your brain will believe it's the most important thing in your life. So let's train it differently and show your brain that you don't need constant updates and to keep thinking and feeling it. So that's how you start breaking free from the trap. A big part of escaping appearance insecurity is learning to zoom out, to stop shrinking yourself down to your problems and to start seeing the bigger picture, right? So if I'm having a breakout or some insecurity flares up, I like to remind myself of something from the research. When other people see us, they don't only see the imperfections that we fixate on. They take in all of us, right? They see all of our physical features together at the same time. Plus, how we move, how we talk, our expressions, our energy, right? They see a full person. But often, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, especially through the lens of insecurity, we do not do that. We shrink our entire identity down just to the features that bother us. A nose, a scar, our skin, whatever. And we forget everything else that makes up who we are as a person. Because you're not just a patch of acne with a human attached, right? You're not a hairline walking into a room. You are, and always have been, a whole person. Someone with humor, intelligence, kindness, creativity, presence, somebody with stories, relationships, with values, with drives. So here's what we need to do. What we focus on, right, becomes bigger and brighter. So let's choose where that is, right? Let's point that flashlight towards things that actually build your life, your goals, your values, your connections with other people, the things that truly define who you are. When you stop giving that flaw center stage, you realize how much mental space you free up to actually enjoy your life again. That's the way up. That's where your attention and your life deserves to be. Going through the surgeries reminded me you can't always control what happens to your appearance, but you can control how much power you give it. If this helped shift your perspective at all, let me know. For the next piece of the puzzle, watch this video.